Please, can you go? Right, everybody. We are here. So, Bloom, my apologies
Oh,
because either we're an hour early
uh-huh.
because of radio programming or we're 5 minutes late because I'm working.
Hey, yeah.
Mm.
Oh, it's the pardon is given in advance. There's the hardest working man in the football media slash comic book slash public appearance slash. What's the next slash going to be, Cecil?
Right. We shall see. Let's get this thing rolling, man.
You got a team, here's a word to the wise. You want to dominate your league? Go to football, guys.
Football, I'm living in a fantasy. Football, got everybody mad at me. Football, cause every game I had to win. Football, I gotta be a champion. Football, I'm living in a fantasy.
Well, it's Philadelphia and Washington up next here on the Week 8 preview. It's part 2, football guys, the Audible, Cecil, Lammey, and Sigmund Bloom. And Philly, they keep rolling, making Miami look like a bad team. Bloom, what are they going to make Washington look like?
Right, a bad team, which they are. First, I gotta say, because see, we don't have super chat and all that stuff, but we do have. If you're kind and you want to send us stuff, I want to let people do nice things for me. I'm working on that. It's part of my therapy. The good folks at Ocelot Brewing, Phil and the team, they're in the DC area. I just got an amazing box, and there were shirts in there too. But I am washing the shirts because a little bit of beer. When you send like a bunch of beer, maybe a little bit of beer leaks, but this is awesome. Makes me feel good. It made my week, made my month. If Washington could somehow win at home against Philadelphia, it would make their month.
You'll be
But
toasting with some Ocelot Brewing there, right?
that's right. Absolutely. I'm going to toast no matter what. I'll find something to toast. I live in New Orleans. Washington, this is a team that is really on the way down, Philly on the way up, as you said. Hurts is hurting, practicing in full. And we don't expect the tush push. Your knee doesn't have to be in great shape for that play to work. AJ Brown is on an historic tear, and this is just fun to watch. Dallas Goedert also. Devontae Smith is due. These are the floor games. You're going to keep him in there. This offense is humming. Washington and their defense is one that we want to pick on anyway. The one thing to watch is divisional matchup. You never know. This one was in Philadelphia last time around and went to overtime. So Sam Howell's going to have to find some of that magic. Ron Rivera is going to have to harness Riverboat Ron to make it a game this time around.
Yeah, and we'll see about that. We'll also see, what is Curtis Samuel banged up? Right?
Yep.
Going over the news that I wrote about at footballguys.com, our free daily newsletter, so check it out. And I was like, I hesitated, Bloom, because I didn't want to say his name. And I didn't want to put it out in the newsletter. I've said it too much. But if Samuel's banged up, maybe.
Right. There's crying Wolf and there's crying Jahan Dotson.
I don't believe you. I can't believe it. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I'm still gonna blame Sam Howell, just because I'm feeling blamey this morning. Blamey, not clammy.
Blimey.
Yeah, clammy. There you go.
Yeah, that's a portmanteau or something like that of your name. I don't know if I'm using that word correctly, but I do know that they're not using Jahan Dotson correctly. And with Curtis Samuel banged up, with the likelihood of Washington having to pass a lot in this game, you do like Jahan Dotson as what the heck flex this week. Sam Howell, I think watching the reaction of Ron Rivera, knowing what he values in a quarterback, you wonder if the patience is running thin. Could this be a game where next week we're asking, is Sam Howell still the starter? And soon after that, we're seeing Jacoby Brissett, which is probably good for the wins and losses of this team, but maybe not the wins and losses of your fantasy team if you're relying on Washington players. If you're relying on Brian Robinson, and Chris Rodriguez is coming on, okay? Chris Rodriguez belongs to Eric Bieniemy. Brian Robinson belongs to the previous regime. We already saw what happened with Antonio Gibson this year, who we were excited about. Maybe Eric Bieniemy is going to find a new role for him or use him the right way. No. So let's watch this. I'm not saying go pick up Chris Rodriguez. I am saying that this is getting complicated, and it's not a good running game and not an offense that's trending up, a team that's trending up. You're going to play Terry McLaurin. I could see scenarios where you're playing Logan Thomas. He had 3 for 41 in the first matchup. Otherwise, this is tough, and Washington's schedule is getting tough, and Washington may well be after a rousing start that made us think, is there something there with Sam Howell? Is there something there with this team now that they're out of the shadow of Dan Snyder? What the something might be is a top 5 or top 7 draft pick.
I got something to say about the trade deadline. Imagine Gibson on the Ravens. We all think they'll get King Henry, but they don't get King Henry.
Sure.
Get Gibson.
Yeah. Gibson's available for the classic late round pick swap.
Oh, yeah. Easily. You give me a 7th, I'll give you 6, whatever. Yep. You could get him for nothing, and he could produce. So you need a running back. There's some help. You need a wide receiver. You want Jerry Jeudy? No? Oh, just like everybody else. It's a Broncos show. Let's make it a Texans show, though, because that actually makes me feel good. Talking about CJ Stroud, talking about D'Amico Ryans, that young core they've got to make hay, and maybe some changes in the backfield that fantasy GMs need to be mindful of, and against Carolina could be quite fruitful.
Yeah, it could be. Notice the lack of hype, the lack of buzz around the number 1 versus number 2 matchup, right? Mm-hmm. Usually when quarterbacks go 1 and 2 in the draft and they face
get it on.
There's not any drama here because it's like CJ Stroud and the SS Texans, like they're out at sea. They're in a great mission. They're making things happen. Bryce Young and the SS Panthers is still in port. Hasn't even left port yet. They can't even. They're getting oars out. The engines won't start. So this is not an evenly matched game. And I think coming out of the bye, this is a statement game for the Texans. I think you're looking at the Texans as the possible surprise playoff team. Certainly a team that's well ahead of expectations, including, of course, CJ Stroud. But let's mention D'Amico Ryans again. Let's mention Bobby Slowick again. And Alfredo and I were talking on the couch yesterday. He was in the recliner lush movie theater.
It's like in a movie theater type thing.
Yeah. He was I'm going to meet you at the movies with Alfredo Brown. And this is a running game. So what's a theme that we're starting to see come into focus now in the middle third, the middle trimester? New offenses starting to gel. Todd Monken and the Baltimore passing game, for instance. Could this be when Bobby Slowick's running game comes into better focus? And like you said, Cecil, is there a change? Well, we already saw a change going into the bye. More Devin Singletary outperforming Dameon Pierce. Devin Singletary is not just a what-the-heck flex. I think if you have both of these running backs, I'm going to say Singletary is probably the better play. Maybe the running game improves enough so that they're both solid flex plays at least. CJ Stroud's a great play in this one. Tank Dell is back. Does that hurt Dalton Schultz? I still think Dalton Schultz is on that fringe of a tight end 1 ranking because of how CJ Stroud has been finding him in the red zone. Nico Collins has to be in your lineup. We've already seen his ceiling games. This could be one of those games. This could just be a ceiling game for this entire offense. And like I said, Cecil, I think this is a game for Houston to put the NFL on notice. What do good teams do against bad teams, even on the road? They spank them. And I think for Carolina, they're just going to be running around like a kid in trouble, putting their hands over their butt, saying, don't spank me. I won't do it again.
It reminds me of the home opener for the Denver Nuggets when fans started chanting, "Who's your daddy?" Like, hey, you're champions. You could do that, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or if you're from Indiana.
There you go. Let's talk Carolina side. Oh, man. The excitement has gone out of the building.
Right. Yeah. Is David Tepper still in the building?
Yeah.
For fantasy, you're going to keep going with Adam Thielen. You want to see if they've got something, rub 2 sticks together with Jonathan Mingo, Terrace Marshall on the way out. Chuba Hubbard, that's the other thing here. Chuba Hubbard is a what-the-heck flex. You think he could get more work than Miles Sanders. What's that actually going to be worth? What's it going to be worth if they're trailing in this game? Chicago has their first-round pick.
That's all you got to know. You got to know about Cleveland and Seattle, our next game up, the Week 8 preview, part 2 here on the Audible. Deshaun Watson, the worst trade in NFL history?
No. Well, I mean, that's a long list. That's a really long list.
Herschel Walker, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson. Who's worse? Who's worse as a GM, George Payton or LeBron James? Anyway, let's talk about Cleveland and the land
That's impressive.
of
You're
PJ
just weaving the
Walker.
NBA talk in there. Like, it's good.
I got to
Cease.
do something to make me
You're
happy.
a multi-sport threat. You're a legit multi-sport threat now.
No, I'd rather talk about Cleveland, honestly. Yeah. And then the backfield, which again, it seems like the last 3 tosses to you have been about backfields. But the interesting thing about Cleveland, okay, Deshaun Watson doesn't think he can play, everybody, even though he's been medically cleared since week 4. Whatever. The less I talk about Deshaun Watson, the better my life will be, because I don't have to think about Deshaun Watson. Browns fans are high-fiving me right now. But like in the backfield, well, who's it going to be, Bloom?
Right.
Because it might not be who you thought it would, or it might be both and just ruin you.
Right. And it also might be not important because Cleveland on the road with PJ Walker at quarterback against Seattle, merely there might not be a lot of opportunities for learning game. I want to discuss this real briefly. I was having a conversation with Jared, beloved Jared. We love you, man. Always. And you wonder, Cease, and you like to get squishy with this stuff. We get crunchy. I'll just get crunchy for 1 second, and then we'll turn the page. Is part of, at least, what is going on with Deshaun Watson karmic in nature?
1,000%.
Yeah. It's interesting stuff. Interesting stuff to watch play out here in the land of stories where we live here on planet Earth, and we live here in the Audible with the land of football stories. PJ Walker. Woo! It's an adventure. We'll see if he can at least keep it at an adventure instead of a misadventure for offense. But Kareem Hunt's not healthy. He would probably get touchdown opportunities. Pierre Strong's interesting. Pierre Strong, you like Tyjae Spears. You like Devin Achane. Pierre Strong's in that mold where he's linear. I mean, Spears also has curvilinear movement. He's got that speed and that acceleration. This could be interesting. He actually got more carries than Hunt after Jerome Ford went out. Amari Cooper, one okay game with PJ Walker, one not so good. Against those corners, Seattle, Woolen, and Witherspoon, probably putting Cooper on the bench. Maybe David Njoku as a guy that you hope for 6 catches for 39 yards in a PPR league. That's where this Cleveland offense is in. That's the state this offense is in because of Deshaun Watson not panning out. But this team, you never know what you're going to get. And they're facing a Seattle team where you never know what you're going to get.
Never know. Box of chocolates. Bloom, as I look like Ali G, did you just go Borat on us? Like, here in Kazakhstan, you can be all sorts of things like journalist, accountant, or prostitute. Sorry, Joe.
That's good. Yes. Ooh.
Yeah, that's a different. Sorry, Joe Plus coming soon sometime. Yeah. I need to be cloned. If they could clone us, Bloom, they can. If they would someone please clone us? I'll gladly give you my DNA.
So. Yeah, but here's the problem with that, Cease. Here's the problem.
What's that?
What happens when your clone starts going out and saying that the clone is the real you, and then people start thinking you're the clone? What if you forget who's the clone and who's the real you?
What does it mean to be human?
Yeah. Moon, I think, was Duncan Jones, Sam Rockwell. Really good movie. Moon, one of the more forgotten great modern sci-fi classics, existential, dread, and so on. Check it out. This and more.
Right. Don't get me started, Bloom, because now you got me thinking about gels. We, Biggie and I came up with gels like back in the 90s, genetically engineered life forms as like soldiers.
Right.
So it'd be like minotaurs and all that. Like, you're gels. You're not human. You're a gel. So what does it mean to be human? It's a question. As we ponder Seattle, what does it mean to be Geno Smith?
Right.
What does it mean to have Jackson Smith and Jigba out there doing more? Pick him up, throw him in. Is at least a what the heck flex, if not more. The status of DK Metcalf. We're watching that. I don't even want to say this because usually it's for players I don't like because I love Zach Charbonnet. But like, stop making Charbonnet a thing. Or maybe is a thing. I don't know. But against the Browns defense, tough sailing for Seattle.
Yeah, probably not so much for Gardner Minshew, or kind of for Gardner Minshew. I mean, he had 4 turnovers.
Geno Gardner, like Gardner doesn't care. Geno does care. Geno
cares a little bit more.
A quality quarterback. Gardner's just like, F it, I'm slinging it.
Yeah, that's true. So it's tough to gauge week to week. And also, Kenneth Walker now, at least as of this morning, Thursday, missed practice on Wednesday, calf injury. Zach Charbonnet is just coming back from a hamstring injury. I think we're going to watch and see if they call some up from the practice squad. DJ Dallas, he's on the roster. I'm just saying, you're not going to, if they're looking at this and thinking, we're not sure about Walker, we're not sure about Charbonnet, they got to sign someone or call someone up from the practice squad. So we'll see what happens with this situation in the backfield. Maybe more is going to fall on Geno Smith, which means Myles Garrett could be falling on Geno Smith. But you do have a healthier DK Metcalf. He's going to be back. Tyler Lockett. These guys are both boom bust wide receiver 3 flexes, but the upside makes them worth it. And maybe with Jackson Smith and Jigba having some momentum. And remember, who got free against Cleveland last week? Josh Downs. Who could they not keep track of? Josh Downs. Who's most likely, if you're thinking plays where Josh Downs, who's playing the Josh Downs role? Maybe Tyler Lockett, but I think Jackson Smith and Jigba absolutely qualifies as a what the heck flex this week with the chance of breaking a big play in this crowded pass offense.
Or is Geno going to be? Did you see the clip of Geno where Aaron Donald's like rushing at him? He goes, "Oh my God!" as he throws it.
Oh my God.
Is that going to be with Myles Garrett chasing him?
Right. It's the last thing that flashes before your eyes. That should have been an episode of Quantum Leap, right? He leaps into a quarterback just as Aaron Donald or Myles Garrett is going, oh
my God.
Ziggy, what did you get me into?
All right. It is a Broncos show. Let's keep this one brief, baby. Like, nobody cares. Nobody cares, literally.
It's not a Broncos show anymore.
They've broken me. Kansas City and Denver up next. And here we go. Casey was playing Charlie Mess Around. I guess that's a baseball term. I don't know. Andrew Mason used it, so I stole it. And I said, Charlie Mess Around. Yeah, they were effing with you. Sorry, Joe. They were messing with you last time on Thursday Night Football. It was a short week. Like, who gives a crap? So they're like, let's run a hook and ladder and let's do all these let's go for it on 4th down in our own territory. Like, they were doing all these things you wouldn't normally do if you're facing a good team. So Kansas City, and I talked to Alex Singleton yesterday. I was like, McCole Hardman do anything for you? He's like, we got enough film on McCole Hardman. Okay. It's not like I'd throw him as a what the heck flex anyway. A lot of your options, your Rashee Rice, I don't want to say Kadarius Toney, but your options would be like in that flex worthy range anyway, because of the way the Chiefs looked against the Broncos. If they wanted to drop 35 in Denver, they could do it in a half, Eddie. So how do you approach that, Bloom, when it's like Andy Reid could score 35, 40, 50 points? We don't know if he will this week.
Right. They're going to mess with them. How are they going to mess with them, right? But it's been the Mahomes-Kelsey show. These guys are peaking right now. In DFS, you might want to look at your Mahomes-Kelsey stack and go studs and duds. Isaiah Pacheco is going to get his. And really, for fantasy, the main story is, do we have something here with Rashee Rice? Is it going to stay? Is it going to be sustainable? Is it maybe even going to grow against the Broncos? I know anytime there's a player who is good after the catch, when I think about the Broncos and their poor tackling, I think, that's a player I'm going to take a chance on. I don't know if there's any Bronco I'm going to take a chance on this week.
Yeah, this week. Do you want my conspiracy theory, Bloom?
Always. That's what we're here for.
Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are a arranged
Of course. Well, that's not even. See, Paul Chartian and I had a discourse about this in the Off the Rails section of On the Couch last week. We should be more surprised. I know you're going to nod along when I say this. We should be more surprised when multi-billion-dollar institutions don't do things to try to rig reality to benefit from what they create than when they do. We should be surprised when the NFL does something that actually is purely for the benefit of the consumers, of the fans, of the viewers. Then we should be surprised. This would only be the 17,843rd time that some sort of moneyed interest. I mean, this has been going on since how long, Cecil? The 40s, the 50s? You could even go back to like the royal families arranging marriages to consolidate their power in like the Middle Ages. This is old. Right. This is really old. Travis Kelce.
Nothing's new here, everybody.
No, there's nothing new under the sun. So I think that what's funny about that and putting it as a conspiracy theory is, we already know that the NFL I mean, how many different things can we talk about where the NFL was doing something strictly for its business interest? The list is extremely short if the NFL is not doing something for its business interest. And as I said to Paul Charchian, what I think is most interesting about this is who courted who has the power in the relationship between Taylor Swift and the NFL.
Taylor.
Yeah, that's the headline here. That the NFL, the too big to fail NFL, the most compelling sport, the last thing that drives television ratings, this NFL behemoth still goes to Taylor Swift hat in hand and says, "Hey, do you think we could work together?"
Yeah, how about that? How about we do a collab, right? It's a little collab. Oh, we got to talk Broncos.
Remix.
We don't have to talk Broncos because I would rather be like, I guarantee, and I don't want to know how the sausage is made, and I won't get into this because YouTube will demonetize us, and I will get a call from Joe about this. I guarantee they don't talk politics at dinner, and I guarantee Kelsey may not feel certain ways about certain things that he is portraying.
Sure. Again, and how many times, Cease? You mean to tell me when someone endorses a product, they might not like that product? They may not even use that product. They may actually say, I don't ever want that product in my home.
Right. Anyway. Oh, yeah, Broncos.
Team.
Whatever. Broncos. Yeah, say whatever, dude. It doesn't matter. It
doesn't.
The tyrant.
We should do this.
We're talking about tyranny. Let's just start the show now, right? Because we're talking about tyranny, basically, is what we're talking about. Like the tyranny of the NFL. Sean Payton's a tyrant, yet the emperor has no clothes. And nobody will tell him. The report yesterday of like Sean Payton's anonymous GM said Sean Payton would trade Russell Wilson in a heartbeat if there was any market, but there's no market for him. Kidding. Sorry, Joe. And then YouTube already demonetized me, by the way, with that little like it'll be like, huh? The AI bots would be like, oh, you cussed. You're a bad person. You're bad. So like, okay, free speech, everybody. But like Sean Payton's already a tyrant. Nobody will say crap to him. God bless America. Joe, let me cuss one time, please.
Right.
Please. Because like nobody says anything. It's so somebody asked me yesterday, like, Sean Payton give you the stink eye. I don't even go to see him. Right. I go to the locker room, baby. I talk to the player, I talk to the people, right? The real people. Forget the tyrants. Talk to the real people. You'll get the real story.
Yeah, the real story. And that's the problem, Cease, with tyrants. And it doesn't matter, right? If you tell them, if you speak truth to them, then you're going to get squashed anyway, and they're not going to listen. So why not live to work under another tyrant, maybe? So Javonte Williams, maybe you play him. You're not playing any wide receivers. You're not playing Russell Wilson. He didn't even have 100 yards passing in the last matchup. And I just hope that the Denver Broncos do something like minor league baseball teams. Have some fun promotions, Everybody look under your seat. There's a kazoo. Let's all play a kazoo song together or something. Here's paper airplanes. If anybody can get the paper airplane in the truck at midfield, you win the truck. Something, because they're making people pay to go to this game. At least you don't have to pay to cover the Broncos. You get paid.
Okay, enough, buddy, enough. We've gone off the rails, and I apologize, but that's just the way it is. I don't want to talk about the Broncos. They're just not fun and exciting. I do want to talk about Baltimore, maybe with King Henry later. Trade deadline can't come soon enough. Not because the NFL doesn't give us a zillion things to talk about, but the trade deadline with Baltimore, getting into the Todd Monken system, and we had wondered early bloom, like, why isn't it looking better? And now it's looking better. So it gives us confidence that it will continue to look better. And I think, see that blue thing? I know it's raining everywhere. That's what the chat room is saying. Sunny in Colorado. We've got snow on Sunday, but like, see that blue thing up above us? That's the upside for the Ravens offense, especially if they were to add some pieces via the trades. I mean, nothing but respect for Baltimore. That's for sure. And, the sky's the limit for this team.
Yeah. Eric DaCosta can do it too,
Oh, yeah.
Eric DaCosta.
A little that Aussie magic, a little the Aussie. We all need the Aussie Newsome. Like life would be better if we thought about things like Aussie did.
Yeah, I feel like, once a year, it makes me want to say two things every time we bring up Aussie Newsome. Okay. Number one, Bill Belichick. that Bill Belichick says, Ozzie taught me a lot more than I taught him. Okay? So keep that in mind. If you are bow down at the altar of Bill Belichick, then you really, above that is the altar of Ozzie Newsome. Number two, again, the list of folks who can make the NFL Hall of Fame as a player and as what they did after they were a player, right? Mike Ditka, Dick LeBeau, always got to mention Dick LeBeau here, and Ozzie Newsome. I guess if there's a broadcaster's wing, that could open up more, but that is how big of and we don't think of Ozzie Newsome as that big of a figure in the NFL, but we should, because his parting gift to the Ravens, Lamar Jackson. And the Steelers took Terrell Edmonds, who just got traded for in a 5th and a 6th for Kevin Byard. Speaking of Tennessee and their sale, Lamar's
old fuddy-duddy GMs, and I could start naming them if you want me to, Bloom, and I could start naming features about them, which I won't, but like how many old fuddy-duddy GMs just would have checked out your last year, right? Ozzie made it happen. That's why he gets the Keanu kiss.
He always does. So this offense is humming. Arizona's going the opposite direction. At least it just got Budda Baker back. I would have Lamar Jackson probably as my number one quarterback this week. Gus Edwards, it's your last dance, maybe, in this backfield. Certainly this is a good matchup for him. He's got to be in your lineup. Zay Flowers is in. Mark Andrews, we're seeing the upside now. 4 catches, 2 touchdowns. We don't need a ton of targets for him to hit. Maybe he's going to close in on Travis Kelce at this rate. And I want it to happen, Cease. It's not fantasy football. Sure, it can be fantasy football. It is a fantasy come true if we can have Derrick Henry next to Lamar Jackson in this backfield. Derrick Henry has to see that this is his chance to get to the Super Bowl.
I'm literally getting chills when you're bringing this up.
Right?
We have to manifest this. Everyone, let's get together and meditate.
Well, because, and what's really great about this is, you can see it when you watch the Lamar Jackson press conferences now, right? His whole aura is different. Now that the team is committed to him, now that he has an offensive coordinator who says, what plays do you want to run? What do you think? And he was talking about Marquise Brown. And you just see, I love Lamar Jackson. You just see, he's like, hey, he has to do what he needs to do for his family. I wish he was here. He should be here. Derrick Henry, he should be in Baltimore.
Now we got to talk about Arizona. It's not Kyler yet, right?
Not yet.
We're waiting maybe another week. I think it was week 9. Was that the initial projections?
I think 9-10. Yeah. Yep. All and full practice. Joshua Dobbs last chance. He made himself a lot of money though. Amari DiMercato, a true what the heck flex. You never know. Baltimore's defense is surging right now though. And I'm going to bring in Bob Henry. I love Bob Henry. Don't say Bob Henry's name enough. Bob Henry is one of the geniuses of football guys, without a doubt. There was a time. OG. And there was a time that in the Fantasy Index projections contests, it was just every year it was like, who's going to come in second, because Bob Henry's going to come in first. And then Bob Henry's nickname on the fly is the Princess McBride. I like that. The Princess McBride. Maybe the glass slipper will fit if you put Trey McBride in your lineup, because it's all his, this tight end role for Arizona.
Yeah. And well, we'll see what he can do with it. And we'll see what else happens there. This one's a hot one. Scorcher. We got a scorcher, Bloom. I was so waiting to talk about this. Cincinnati and San Francisco. Let's get through the Bengals, Bloom. And I'm just going to toss it to you like that, because I got a lot to say about San Francisco, and you won't want to miss it.
Yeah, you won't want to miss it. I always feel like I try not to do this. I remember I dabbled in this for a little bit, and you're like, yeah, I don't know if we need this, but it's still fun for me to revisit Cincinnati and San Francisco, the Super Bowls, because these were amazing Super Bowls.
I knew what you were going to say.
Well, because they've never won a Super Bowl because of the 49ers and the Rams. And remember, when it was the Rams, the 49ers almost went to the Super Bowl. We almost had a three-peat of that matchup. And I think this is a great measuring yardstick game for Cincinnati coming out of the bye. Joe Burrow should be as healthy as he's been all year. San Francisco's defense is staggered right now. I think this is a game where Joe Mixon could have a good game. San Francisco is licking their wounds. T. Higgins should be healthier. I think that he sounds like a good play this week. Of course, Jamar Chase. And I just think this is such a great example, Cease. We talk about seasons within seasons. We talk about everything that happens within the course of an NFL season. We're not even halfway into. We're only week 8. It's 18 weeks long. We're not even halfway yet. But already, what the Bengals can do is put all of the gloom and doom, some of it coming from me, gloom and doom, from the Joe Burrow injury and asking him to play through it, and just how futile this offense looked. It's all behind them now. And that's the beautiful thing about the NFL. You can get second chances, third chances during the same season. And San Francisco, they're going to see just how resilient, how mentally tough this team is, because this is a position I think that they did not want to be in entering week 8. They might not even be in first place at the end of this week if they don't win this game.
Yep. Skinny Chef making it to the show, making it for a live show.
Yeah.
Skinny Chef,
yeah, that's good.
Don't get high off your own supply. Don't eat.
Right. Well, no, you can have all kinds of good stuff. We're doing a lot of anti-inflammatory foods here in with the chef love of my life, Kate. There's a lot of stuff you can do. Delicious food that's healthy.
You guys have a garden too, right?
Yes. Yes.
Gardening and canning. That should be our first Sorry Joe Plus show.
Yeah, everyone's excited for Sorry Joe Plus. So we're going to talk about canning tomatoes.
Gardening and canning, everybody.
You can make salsa. You can make spaghetti sauce with them. You can do so much with them.
This is what Kyle Shanahan wanted. Okay? And I don't know if I would get on Pat McAfee again, but whatever. Like this, I'd take my shirt off, right? I'll take my shirt off right now to get this out there. This is what Kyle Shanahan wanted. Brock Purdy is like Bob Ross, happy little trees, right? Happy little trees, everybody. You got Sam Darnold. They wanted Sam Darnold. Who's liked Sam Darnold? Let's go back into the Wayback Machine when Sam Darnold was coming out. Well, John Elway really liked Sam Darnold and had the Broncos not beaten the Colts and had the number 3 pick. So, and then said that turns into the Jets who make the move. The Broncos would have drafted Sam Darnold. Well, who's associated with John Elway? Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan. They do a lot of research together. Let's just say that, everybody. John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan don't always see eye to eye, but there's love between those two. There's love between John Lynch and Kyle, and I know both of those men, and they are great men. I got nothing bad to say about John Lynch. Known Kyle since he was a kid, basically, since he's playing ball at the University of Texas. Listen, I don't know how it'll work out, Bloom. Here's your baseball reference. I do not know if Brock Purdy's going to get Wally pipped.
There you go.
Okay?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't tell you that. But I can tell you, and this is why it's all on Sam Darnold. It's like, okay, the 49ers are down. People are, I saw today on Twitter, and I always laugh when people are like, Twitter X, whatever you want to call it. And damn it, Jason, get back on it. Because Jason left Twitter, and it makes me mad. Because I make fun of people that leave Twitter because Elon, oh my God. But here's the thing. If you get what you want and it works out the way you think it can, yeah, Sam Darnold could lead this team to a Super Bowl. And it doesn't have anything to do with Sam Darnold. It has to do with what he does and what the team wants him to do. Like Brock Purdy. They could get a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy. And I saw Trey Lance was trending this morning, so I just did a little glancing while I was rendering audio and making sure On the Couch was getting out there. I was rendering audio. I'm looking at Twitter. I'm like, why is Trey Lance? Oh, yeah, because then 49ers, you'd be like, oh, should have kept Trey Lance. They wanted Sam Darnold. This is what they wanted, Bloom. You tell me how you think it's going to turn out. No Debo, more Ayuk, whatever. What's Kittle going to do? Christian out there getting his thing done. But I want to make it very, very, very clear. There is a chance. I'm not saying it will happen. But there is a chance that Brock Purdy never gets his job back.
Yeah. And I think that regardless, there's a lot on the line for Sam Darnold in this game. Purdy in concussion protocol, played on Monday night. It's asking a lot. I don't think it's going
to. And isn't that scary, by the way? He gets on the plane and then he has the symptoms. It's like, oh, God. Should you take a little bit more notice?
Right. Took two interceptions at the end of the game after the concussion.
Right.
You can see the play where he took the concussion on a quarterback sneak. And maybe Carolina's not so crazy having Andy Dalton do the quarterback sneaks. It doesn't matter whether the quarterback is the size for it or not. So Darnold's in, and we'll see. Let's reflect on Sam Darnold, the top 5 pick quarterback, and how it went. Well, they asked him to be Andrew Luck, right? They asked him, they didn't set him up like Dak Prescott. They didn't set him up like Ben Roethlisberger. They said, go in there and do your thing. Do what you do. And again, in my imprinting theory of quarterback development, that's nothing. There are certain quarterbacks actually who flourish. A minority of the quarterbacks will flourish if you just throw them into the fire. Most of them will develop bad habits, start to see ghosts, et cetera, et cetera. Can Sam Darnold overcome that and reinvent himself as basically, again, an extension of the head coach, as if Kyle Shanahan has a joystick? Isn't that why Kyle Shanahan loves Brock Purdy so much? I remember, I don't know if it was Doug Farrar or Mike Tanier, two of the greatest minds, greatest.
Oh my God, that's like we need to start a rock band with those two.
Right.
They're like the greatest. Two of my favorite guys to hang out with, man.
Absolutely. I think it was Mike Tanier, but I don't remember. Whenever Brock Purdy was drafted, he called him future Houston Texans offensive coordinator Brock Purdy. But that was actually really insightful, right? And that actually gives you a hint at why Brock Purdy has been so successful. If you're looking at a guy as a rookie quarterback and saying he's a future offensive coordinator, in some ways it's a knock on his playing ability, but in another way, it is exactly that processing. Now, so does Sam Darnold have that? Can Sam Darnold reinvent himself as an extension of the coach type of quarterback instead of look at his tools, look at his mobility, look at his ability to create outside of structure? Isn't that what we were talking about coming out of USC? So big story here. Also going to be watching to see if Christian McCaffrey's wearing down. I think it's possible. At least the bye's coming up next week. Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle stay in your lineup with Sam Darnold. And again, if Seattle beats Cleveland and San Francisco loses this game, San Francisco could absolutely lose this game. They're not in first place. They go from one of the last of the undefeateds to not even in first place.
Yeah, and that's why this is so fascinating, Bloom. Steve in the chat room's like, would you drop Kenny Pickett for Darnold? And you and I are contrarians by nature.
Yeah.
Which is cool, I think.
Yeah.
I think more people should be contrarian.
Well, you don't have to be a contrarian. Look, no one should ever set out to be a contrarian. You should just be a truth teller. Be like Matt Waldman. Just tell the truth, whatever you see. And everyone agrees with me. Oh, nobody agrees with me. Oh, okay.
Well, okay. Yeah. Be like Ozzie Newsome. Be like Matt Waldman. Some sage-like wisdom coming out today. But the thing is, because Twitter, the general consensus is Sam Darnold's a joke. This won't work. They messed up by getting rid of Trey Lance. Okay. That could very well be the case.
Yeah.
But if coaches, remember, the egos on the field are one thing. The egos in the front office are much, much larger. I'm going to be right. He's not looking real good, but I'm going to be right. I'm going to make him look better. Hey, maybe Purdy comes back in a week and he's fine. He's the starter and 49ers are okay and they're winning. But maybe Darnold does what Kyle wanted him to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, our last two games aren't that great.
I know they saved the worst for last.
We spent 10 minutes on the 49ers because it's awesome. But then it's and sorry to Jason, because we're going to talk the Raiders here in just a little bit. But let's talk Bears and Chargers, everybody. Okay. And he's okay. Tyson Bagent, is going to deliver shorter passes, right? DJ Moore's going to have 8. Usually I go alliteration, right? 8 for 80, 7 for 70.
The 8 at the end.
It's going to be
8 for 58.
For 48.
8 for 48.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, okay.
Multiplication tables. Yeah.
We're watching Roschon Johnson and his status again. Football Guys Newswire. Shout out. So check that out. Keep up to date. Friday for this game. And with the Bears, okay, the backfield's just the question mark and Bagent, get ready for a lot of short stuff.
Yeah, and that's fine. This is going to be an interesting game. And again, Tyson Bagent, just take a moment to breathe in this story. Shepard, what you really love to hear about Tyson Bagent and the belief in self, always belief in self, that DJ Moore is saying, hey, he calms us down. He makes us feel like we're capable of executing, when we're around him. He's an undrafted free agent rookie. He's probably almost certainly the youngest guy in that huddle, right? He's coming from Shepherd. Just that he is out there and doesn't look like Frogger. Just that he isn't out there trying to just keep from getting run over, right? Oh, I made it back to the sideline without getting run over. That's a win, That's what you would expect when at this time last year, he was facing Division II defenses. And now he's facing NFL defenses.
And throwing picks. I said it last week. A year ago, he threw like 4 picks against Colorado School of Mines.
Right. What a story. And it's all about belief in self. It's because the universe has not been giving him signals via other human beings that this was possible. But he never gave up on that. He's a quarterback 2 Superflex this week. The backfield, I think Dante Foreman's okay. I'm not seeing anything about him missing practice or whatever it was that made him leave the game, but I'm open to being wrong and I might have missed something. I think even if Roschon Johnson's back and as of the beginning of the week, still not completely out of concussion protocol, I hope anytime a concussion keeps a player out for more than a week, then when you bring them back, maybe take it easy, maybe ease them in. I would be inclined to put Dante Foreman back in this week, certainly against the Chargers run defense. And yeah, you said keep DJ Moore and not Cole Kmet and just enjoy this. And what's really good for this offense with Tyson Bagent outperforming expectations is you can really take your time with Justin Fields because it's a thumb injury, ligament damage, whatever, on his throwing hand. Now, if the offense and the team was floundering, you might say we got to get Fields back there as soon as he's ready just to take a snap. As soon as he can take a snap without pain, let's get him out there. Now, I think we know when Justin Fields is back that he's really back and really ready to throw the ball the way he threw before the injury because the offense is in good hands with Tyson Bagent.
That's correct. The Chargers offense is in what? Austin Eckler is a player that both you and Alfredo, the pretend GM, talked about yesterday on the couch. So if you were able to make that move and get a trade and buy low on Austin Eckler, does it pay off this week against the Bears? Because whatever can work for the Chargers should on Sunday night at home.
Should. But is it that Austin Eckler, he did practice in full, tweaked his ankle a little bit. Let's see if he can get back to pre-injury form. He's in your lineup, but you're not necessarily expecting a ceiling week, even though the Chicago defense is one that we would have projected as one we want to pick on. They've done better the last 2 weeks, but is that just because they're facing the Raiders and facing the Vikings when they weren't really putting their foot on the gas? Keenan Allen is in your lineup, but again, I'm looking for a trend here. Our defense is going to sell out to take away Allen and say throw deep to Palmer. Throw to Eckler. And maybe if Eckler's more dangerous, then the pendulum swings back. But Allen was contained last week. So maybe it is another Joshua Palmer week. Maybe it's a Donald Parham week. I thought maybe he suffered a concussion at the end of the game, but it looks like he's going to practice and be okay for this week. Gerald Everett not practicing. And Donald Parham, we know, is the skyscraper that Justin Herbert likes to look to in the red zone. Hopefully they're down there at least a few times against the Bears.
All right, our pot stoner degenerate up in, I think, is it Garden City? Where's he at? Garden City? Where is it? Colorado City?
That's what he said, Garden City.
Is that what he said? Yeah, okay. He's not in Greeley today.
The Garden of Eden.
Yeah. We need to go. He owes me some tacos. He's winning all this stuff on DFS. So, Jason, this one's for you, buddy, because it's time to talk Raiders football. Raiders and Lions, Bloom, up against your beloved Lions. The Raiders, okay. You guys also mentioned on the couch yesterday about Josh Jacobs. All right, well, I'm listening, but I would feel better about the Raiders if they just let the kid play. Jimmy Garoppolo sucks, okay? Sorry. Don't want to be mean or personal. Sorry, Joe. Brian Hoyer, it doesn't do anything. At least with Aiden O'Connell, you'd get experience and you'd learn and you'd see if the kid can play. And you'd have multiple weeks to do it. Hell, you could have half a year. And then maybe he's the starter next year. Or you just say, guess what? We need a quarterback, which you already knew when you signed Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah. There's no plan. I just don't think there's any plan. If anything, Cease, it's funny. We talk about some of these teams like Sean Payton and Denver. Well, we're just fast forwarding to rebuilding mode. Minnesota, We're just fast forwarding to rebuilding mode. Well, rebuilding mode for the Raiders is when Josh McDaniels is fired, and I guess Ziegler with him.
Yeah.
I mean, and then what? And then is the same brain trust that hired Gruden and Mayock, McDaniels and Ziegler. Like, do we really think it's going to be any better the next time around? Really? Sorry, Raiders fans. Once proud Raiders franchise. Hey, you get a Monday night game. But this is a Monday night game. This is the tomato can. This is supposed to be the team. Now, I don't know if they projected that, but this is supposed to be the team for the Lions. It's a Monday night home game for the Lions. Maybe the Raiders play spoiler. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo returns. I want to see confirmation. He could improve this offense, so that could maybe help things for Josh Jacobs, who's in your lineup just because of volume. Devontae Adams in your lineup. We've seen him more banged up as a decoy, and Jacoby Myers more consistent. Michael Mayer, we're going to watch. Maybe he's not in your lineup with nobody on bye this week. Now you're deciding, do I even hold him? He's still getting the snaps. Maybe with Jimmy Garoppolo in there, he gets more targets, gets more high-quality targets. And we're watching the Detroit defense, which looked like an ascending defense, a surprise defense, until they faced Lamar Jackson.
Until they face that. Just want to see Eminem there. Right? Well, let's get celebrities in. What was it? Travis Scott was at the Broncos game last week. Not that it matters.
Right.
The Broncos
I'm enjoying this trend, Cecil, of like football players going to watch other sports and they mic them up. That's fun.
Yeah.
Maybe we could get some players from other sports. Maybe like get Lionel Messi to go to an NFL game and mic him up and just see what he thinks,
Well, it's funny because it was Justin Simmons and Kareem Jackson sitting for Nuggets Lakers as they raised the banner at Ball Arena, and the camera never went to them. Never. Because Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter were there. And if you don't know Travis Hunter, he's the two-way stud, top 5 pick, top 2 pick, top 3 pick, whatever, when he comes out. And Shedeur's, if Shedeur came out, he'd be a top 10 quarterback. He needs another year, I believe. But because those two guys were at the Nuggets game, they would be like, here's your Buffs quarterback and wide receiver corner or whatever. And they never showed Justin Simmons and Kareem Jackson.
Yeah. Well, and hey, to be fair, Kareem Jackson just got suspended, and Kareem Jackson is NFL's public enemy number 1 right now. But maybe that's how you market it. We've got public enemy number 1. There's a reason to care about the Broncos.
You are number 1 supporter of the Detroit Lions, so let's go and wrap this thing up before What the Heck Flex about your Lions.
Yeah, and you just want to see a bounce back. You just want to put last week's game behind you and trying to be positive. I think it's the kind of game that exposes things. You have a whole half a season to work on, and you put your shoulder back to the grindstone to improve this team. But this is hopefully a game that really shows that we're in a new era of Lions. Got messy on the brain. Lions football, and a bit of an announcement game to the rest of the world that the Lions are here. And we know about the Jared Goff home road splits. I thought maybe that this Ben Johnson offense could help put that behind us, but we did see the road split, the outdoor game last week against Baltimore. Problemas for one Jared Goff. I think he's going to be much better this week. I don't think we're going to see David Montgomery. Stay tuned, but it's a Jahmyr Gibbs game. Either way, on that fast track, he looked like he can handle a lot of work, including in the passing game last week. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, even Josh Reynolds, Jameson Williams as, what the heck flexes, because it is the Raiders.
It is the Raiders, and it is time for the ever popular What the Heck Flex. You're looking over your lineup. You just need some punch. You're like, damn it. Sorry, Joe. You need that punch. By the way, get your Sorry Joe t-shirt at footballguys.com.
Yes.
We need to do a better job of promoting that stuff, because people are like, you have Sorry Joe t-shirts? Yes, we have Sorry Joe t-shirts. Get them now. Take pictures with, selfie it up, and send it to us.
Yeah.
At Cecil Lammey, at Sigmund Bloom, and at What the Heck Flex. Look at that lineup. Give me that punch. Where's it at? And it's in some players we've talked about, Bloom. Let's go over it again, shall we? Tyler Algier. What the heck? Where's your headache? I got a headache. Where's your headache? Tyler Algier. What the heck flex? Devin Singletary. What the heck flex? Now with more juice. Pierre Strong, to me, is a what the heck flex this week. We'll watch to see how that backfield shakes out, but it's at least what the heck flex worthy. On the flip side, JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba we're watching there as well. Is Jaden Reed going to do a little bit more going forward? Like, all right, there's, stop making Christian Watson a thing. There's Jaden Reed. What the heck flex levels there as well. I do love me some Wan'Dale Robinson. He's tiny, but he's a playmaker, so I'll throw him in as a what the heck flex. Odell Beckham Jr. is basically in that realm of what the heck flex levels for me. Barely talked about it, but Rondale Moore's always got that explosiveness to be a what the heck flex against Baltimore Ravens and maybe some garbage time there. But Bloom, it's week 8. You need the win. You need some punch. Who are some of your week 8 what the heck flexes?
Yeah, this week with no teams on bye. So when there's 6 teams on bye, like week 7, then the skill in fantasy football is finding that player who shouldn't really perform and comes through for you and is the edge. Now you have tougher lineup decisions. You have more options to choose from, but also challenging and also a fun part of the puzzle. So the bar is a little bit lower for what the heck flexes. I'm sorry, the bar is higher. It was lower last week. Let's watch Braxton Berrios. At the time we recorded yesterday, this Tyreek Hill stuff with his hip was not on our radar. It sure sounds like Tyreek Hill's not going to play this week. I honestly don't know if this is an injury that could affect him for more than this week. Jalen Waddle's not 100% right now either with his back spasms. So let's watch Braxton Berrios. Tank Dell's back. He should be back in your lineup. Jahan Dotson, we talked about it. Jameson Williams, Josh Reynolds, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. And, of course, Demario Pop Douglas, 7-11, always open. At running back, Gus Edwards, Tyjae Spears, Devin Singletary, Kareem Hunt, and Pierre Strong. Cam Akers is a Cam Akers turn, and Chuba Hubbard, I think it is Chuba Hubbard's turn, and it's your turn, Cease, to send us off.
Send us away. Light your candles, meditate, manifest that Derrick Henry to the Ravens thing. I'm still thinking about it, Bloom. I'm obsessing over it.
You should. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah. Be careful with your time and energy. More words of hopefully wisdom. I don't know. Be careful with your time and energy. And that's why we're very thankful that you give us your time and energy. And we have so much fun with the chat room. So if you're listening to us via podcast, first off, thanks. Been doing this for 18 seasons. So we appreciate that. From 2006 till now, it's the Audible, the greatest hits. And we appreciate you. And if you're listening, check out the YouTube channel. Because the YouTube channel will get a little spicy, get a little extra. Somebody, was it on Twitter? I don't know. Somebody's like, don't tell me you're one of those guys that waxes your chest. I was like, no, I just don't have any chest hair. I was like, I don't know which is more embarrassing, right? Like, and if you wax your chest, whatever, baby. Like,
it's okay.
My cousin, who's been in some Audi commercials because he's like a mountain bike legend. He no body hair, waxes his legs, stuff like that. Because I don't know, aerodynamics. When you race bicycles, I guess that's the thing. Like, whatever, get down how you get down, baby. But like, no, it's just don't have any hair.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's okay. Smooth, baby. Smooth.
Yeah, exactly. Be a swimmer. Fluid dynamics.
Oh, they want it. They want it. One day.
That's why you always say mics are hot, or else they would get it.
Yeah, you get it all right. You get it before the show. It's the show we want to do, Bloom. It's the show that America needs. But not yet.
No.
Sorry.
We're not ready. You're not ready. And it's only week 8. We got to get through the season.
Exactly. So we're here for you. Do the YouTube things, like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. We appreciate each and every one of you. He's Sigmund. I'm Cecil. We are the Audible. As always, stay tuned. And would you please stay frosty?